Hello, brief reaction to The Genius of Trees by Harriet Ricks, How They Mastered the Elements and Shaped the World. 2025 book, definitely getting on a lot of best of lists, which is where I found it. This is, it is a nonfiction book about the genius of trees and how they've so much how they've shaped our world. Just going by the chapters, it's trees shaping water, trees shaping soil, trees shaping fire, trees shaping air, trees shaping fungi, trees shaping plants, trees shaping animals, trees shaping people. And yes, Ricks does a wonderful, well-written job of kind of going through all the ways that trees, through their, I think it's like 140 million years of existence, have shaped our world. Trees, plants in general, breaking down rock, injecting it with carbon, introducing kind of just the general nutrients. Is like, that is why instead of just a hunk of rock floating through the world, we are a hunk of rock with like interesting, well, partially covered in water, where we have the land parts and the seal parts actually have soil and have life, have the elements for other parts of life to actually be there. The book, there's just kind of the fundamentals of shaping the world from its very, very earliest beginnings, of making the soil, of using fire as a way as a tool for trees to grow and to shape and to actually kind of, meld things that way. How the trees affect, the air. They are, through photosynthesis. This is the pulling carbon out of the air, injecting the air with oxygen. Definitely saying, like, how much just the preponderance of trees shaped the oxygen levels and what was the creatures that were growing around there. We definitely get into the kind of which is kind of a very kind of, that to me seems like a kind of a hip topic of the mycelial network, which is basically all the kind of underground kind of fungi. And, well, it's roots, but it's also the fungi and mushrooms and things like that underneath the ground, and how trees have used fungi to actually bring nutrients to them, kind of in cooperation, like kind of these weird, interesting exchanges. Shaping plants at one point, the planet was so dominated by trees that everything that grew underneath it had to kind of figure out a way to live without as much light, because the trees were so dominant. And it was only with a great asteroid strike 66 million years ago that dominance was broken. But the things that grew up use that opportunity to grow up and cause a more kind of diverse kind of ecosystem. They all evolved underneath trees, and they still carry that with them. Just laughing as watching a woman stare down a truck. So, there's that. There's animals. That's, from bees and birds to monkeys to, us. Basically, we've come down from the trees. We're very much shaped in those trees and in the shade of those trees. How much that has influenced us. And, oh God, Harriet Ricks makes the point, like, we're basically like, trees are sort of this kind of, there's kind of an thing of exactly how much comfort and, need. I mean, aside from, actual air exchange and shade and just pleasantness, you think about all the cities. There's also just kind of a deeper kind of a need to have trees. And sniffing your book, and that pleasant smell. Except of course I read the book on an e-reader, so I broke the chain. So this warning: this book does encourage books, physical physical tree-based book sniffing, if that is a thing. So yeah, it's I think I saw a dismissive comment saying like, oh, this isn't anything new in the thing, but it's so wonderfully written, and it's so much one of those books where you think, wow, isn't nature freaking amazing and so interconnected and so much more complicated and so much more wonderful than you might think of if you weren't paying attention. And there's a lot of times I'm just not I'm not paying attention. But this, yeah, it was just like, oh my God, it's one of these books you go, holy shit, how amazing trees are, how there's like the amount that you see is like, oh, or just the smell. It talks about how a tree basically has its own kind of blanket of air around it, releasing stuff into the air to kind of seed stuff to encourage rains, just all the smells to attract pollinators, just amazing stuff. So yes, I heartily recommend The Genius of Trees. Now, one of the things that I like about the book is that I was definitely holding on by my fingernails as I read this book. It's like there's some stuff that like, okay, this is just going over my head, or maybe I'm not gonna retain it for that long. It is the upper level of science books in that sense, at least for my level, my general level of things, which I enjoy. I dislike books that I feel like are speaking down to me, that are dumbing things down. It's like, no, this book very much pushed me to try and understand more about trees versus, just doing very simple Dick and Jane sort of level of stuff. This seemed to be a couple of more levels up from Dick and Jane. If you're a tree scientist, there's probably nothing in here that you don't know. But if you're a lay person, this is going to get you like, oh, this is why, the science of trees, the ecology of trees is just so amazing and complex and deserves our respect and care. All right, I'm going to leave it there. More videos later.